Hello YouTube and welcome back to another episode here in the MC Magic Minecraft servers. Today we are taking a look at an attraction that needs no introduction, but we're still going to give one anyway. Today we are looking in Disney's Hollywood Studios, formerly Disney's MGM Studios, at the Hollywood Tower of Terror. The iconic Twilight Zone Tower of Terror at Disney's Hollywood Studios is one of the most legendary attractions ever created by the Walt Disney Company, assisted by Disney Imagineering. Since its opening in 1994, it has become the visual centerpiece of the park and one of the most immersive thrill rides in theme park history. So today we are going to deep dive, take a look, actually ride the Tower of Terror now. So Disney Imagineers, they had a couple of goals that they were looking to set themselves up for. So before we even ride the attraction, let's build it up a little bit. So you have to remember, this park opened as Disney's MGM Studios in 1989. And currently where we're walking right now, we're pretty close to it at the very least, was a area called, it was an outdoor theater similar to the one they have at Beauty and the Beast, and it was the Theater of the Stars. And this theater housed a couple of little shows. They had a Muppets overlay at one point. They had a show called Pretty Woman, and talking about old glitz and glamour Hollywood, dancers and flapper girls. It used to be right in this area. But the park was so successful that they had to think bigger and expand this park. So they went off of the main street of Hollywood Boulevard and built Sunset Boulevard. So this is Hollywood Boulevard right here, right? From the great, oh God, not the Great Movie Ride, the Mickey's Runaway Railway to the front of the park. And then off here, this was all built new. So that's where they created Sunset Boulevard. And when they were building an attraction in this area, Disney Imagineers wanted to create a major weenie icon that was visible across the entire park. A groundbreaking thrill ride and a story-heavy attraction unlike any traditional drop tower ever seen at the time. And I would say at the time the most popular drop tower at that time was the Demon Drop, which is actually at Dorney Park in, I think it's Allentown, Pennsylvania. It still is running today, but a really nice drop tower. But compared to this, it is nothing compared to the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. And if you guys know, you know. I'm from the Northeast, so I definitely know what Demon Drop is, even though I've never ridden it. But it's a popular attraction in the Northeast as a drop tower. But they were trying to figure out what they were going to create in this area. There was a lot of concepts for like a haunted attraction in this area. They were going to go through a lot of different concepts until they eventually came up with what they did in 1994, which was this attraction. The attraction tells the story of the fictional Hollywood Tower Hotel, a glamorous Los Angeles hotel during Hollywood's golden age. And then you get to see 1917 AD. According to the ride's backstory, on Halloween night of 1939, a lightning strike hit the hotel. 5 guests inside an elevator mysteriously vanished, and the hotel became abandoned and trapped in the Twilight Zone. And guests touring the old hotel eventually board the same cursed service elevators that those 5 victims had in the past. And the ride was officially licensed from the classic TV series The Twilight Zone, and even used archival footage and the voice of creator Rod Serling in the pre-show. And one famous line from the attraction, "You are the star, and this elevator travels directly to the Twilight Zone." And that is just a beautiful way of putting it. This attraction was a complete accident, but a perfect feat for Disney Imagineering. The attraction was revolutionary in terms of the ride system. We had never seen a ride system. We take it for granted in 2026. This was a drop tower that there's a certain section where it actually moves forward through the ride. There was nothing ever like that before this time, which is kind of incredible when you think about it now, but I mean, it was revolutionary at that time. And it moved horizontally, the elevator shaft moved. Oh, this is incredible. I don't remember this. Wow, that is incredible. So, this ride was groundbreaking technology. Again, you have to remember, this is the early 90s. This was 1994 when this attraction opened. The randomized sequence of the drops, that was an update to the attraction. The trickery of the architecture. The tower was designed carefully so the rear of the building blended with the Morocco Pavilion skyline at Epcot. So you could actually see this attraction from Epcot, but you would never even know with the way it blends into the Moroccan Pavilion. Again, that was the attention to detail. As much as people did not like Michael Eisner, and during that whole era, some of the things he did, the attention to detail was there in so many different aspects of things like this that you would never even think twice about. The attraction stands at 199 feet tall, and that is definitely on purpose. So that is 1 foot under the 200 mark, so it could avoid needing a flashing FAA aircraft beacon that would ruin that 1930s atmosphere. So the queue in the atmosphere, many Disney fans consider Tower of Terror's queue one of the greatest ever created, and there's a multitude of reasons why that is. You consider the dust-covered furniture, the cobweb chandeliers which we saw in the main lobby, the old jazz music that you're listening to right now from the 1930s, and the dead gardens and fountains with no running water. A creepy boiler room in the loading area, which we're going to look at in a second. Disney Imagineers intentionally made that hotel feel frozen in time, and they really did that down to the nitty-gritty details. They were able to execute that perfectly. So now we're heading into the boiler room area, which veers off into two separate areas, which we actually don't have here. I mean, I guess just so you avoid the boiler room, they did this. But so here we go. We're going to see the actual service elevator. So the impact of this attraction, it quickly became the symbol of Hollywood studios for many years. The identity of this park was the Grauman's Chinese Theater, and was other things like the water tower and things like that. But it was never, at a certain point, once Disney decided the direction they were going to go in with this park, it became pretty clear that the Tower of Terror was going to be used for most of the marketing in this park as the weenie. And it had a cult following that continues till this day, including myself. Its popularity led to a 1997 TV movie called The Tower of Terror, starring Steve Guttenberg and Kirsten Dunst. And this was also created in other areas. It was created in Disney's California Adventure, which we now know there's an Avengers ride there now. Tokyo Disney Sea, which has its own version with, I think it's Hilton High Tower or something like that. And Walt Disney Studios Park. And like I said, the California version was changed to Guardians of the Galaxy. A couple of fun facts. The hotel supposedly opened in 1917 in the ride's fictional timeline, which we saw on the building when we were walking up in the queue. The famous rooftop nightclub is called the Tip Top Club, which if you come here for Jollywood Nights, you can actually get some drinks from the Tip Top Club. Bellhop costumes are among the most expensive Disney cast member costumes that have ever been made. And the bellhop costume is, again, going a throwback to that 1930s style. They've done a really good job at preserving that costume in particular. And the attraction mixes dark ride elements, horror storytelling, thrill ride mechanics, and cinematic special effects, which we're currently looking at right now as our little friends are welcoming us into the 13th dimension. And why fans love it? Multitude of reasons. And, fans often consider Tower of Terror one of Disney Imagineering's greatest achievements because it perfectly combines the elements of storytelling, atmosphere, music, architecture, technology, and for most of us, most importantly, the thrill factor. And even decades later, as this attraction is now over 30 years old, You have to remember this opened in 1994, so it is 32 years old here in 2026. Even decades later, it remains one of the delivering and defining attractions of Walt Disney World and Walt Disney Imagineering. This attraction encapsulates so much of what that golden era of Imagineering was in the late 80s and the early 90s. And this attraction does everything and executes so perfectly what fans expect from Disney. I think that's why I get so disappointed in attractions like Mickey's Runaway Railway and some of these other attractions we've seen throughout the years, is because we see attractions like this that were made in the 90s with less technology, with less innovation, with less knowledge. And I think people are upset because we expect this type of attraction with the technology and the knowledge we know today. There's no excuse. It seems like we're missing certain things in today's technology, that innovation and that creativity and imagination just isn't there the way it used to be, which is kind of sad. And I think that really this attraction is just like you can't not get excited when you see this attraction and what it is today. I think a lot of people, this is why I think Disney fans not only are so obsessed with Disney because of attractions like this, because it's just so different than anything else out there, but this is the standard. Disney has set their own standard for attractions. And I think this attraction is the standard, and anything less than this just isn't good enough. So that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel as always. Leave recommendations for which rides and attractions I should tour next. And as always, I'll see you guys again next time.